Hello mga ka-learners! Before we begin, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. This will greatly increase our subscribers and hope we can reach out to more learners who wanted to learn and understand basic calculus at their own pace. Our subject for today is basic calculus, all about limits and continuity. Our lesson for today is about limits of a function. The first lesson has been divided into four parts to give you enough time to absorb the concept first so that it will ease through solving the limit problems using table of values, graphing techniques, and online graphing calculators or simulators. After the first video, you will be busy solving limit of an equation problems, so please prepare your scientific calculators, ball pen, paper, tablet, or if you have laptops, for the online graphing calculators. Are you ready? At the end of the lesson, the learner shall be able to define what is a limit of a function, use the table of values to illustrate the limit of a function, and of course use the graph of a function to illustrate the limit of a function, and appreciate the use of illustrating the limit of a function in our daily lives and in future careers and profession. On this part of the lesson, we will focus on the definition of a limit of a function to help ease through using the techniques in solving limits such as table of values, graphing, online graphing calculators, and on our next lesson, please make sure that you have your own scientific calculator, ball pen, paper. If you have a laptop or tablet, bring that as well so you can practice using the online graphing calculator. If not, you can just watch the video. Before we get too serious on limits of a function, let me hear from you what is your opinion and knowledge about limits. What do you think limit is? When you hear the word limit, what comes to your mind? Write down on a piece of paper your idea or opinion about what limit is all about. You may pause this video while writing your idea and press play whenever you're done. You have 3 minutes to write your opinions on a piece of paper on your subject or your subject notebook. So here are the most common student responses I received before. First is the curfew hours when parents restrict their children as to what time they should be home after school. Next are limits on extraneous activities. This is when you have certain health conditions like asthma and other health conditions that restricts you from overexerting. And of course, the time of day. This is the most common and favorite answer. Ideally, there are 24 hours on a day. Normally, when you live near the equator, we have 12 hours for daytime and 12 hours for nighttime. On certain locations of the Earth, they probably might have longer days and longer nights because of their location from the equator and from the sun. But if you compute their month year, it is still 364 and one-fourth days. A limit in calculus can be visualized like having two hunters from both ends. As they get closer and closer to their prey, you will be able to get close enough from the prey to confirm that what animal it is or what animal your prey is. Remember this concept. You may get close enough from the prey, but you will never replace the location of that prey or become the prey itself. The best thing that can be done here is to correctly identify what kind of prey it is. The prey huntress from the left will be able to identify that the prey is an orange tiger. The Robin Hood-like hunter from the right side of the prey will be able to confirm as well that the prey is an orange tiger as well. Thus, you will have an accurate observation about the prey because of the observation of it's not actually the prey hunter, but the pretty hunter and the Robin Hood-like hunter on the right side, from the right side. Okay. A limit is comparable to observing a basketball game or any sports. It could be any sports like volleyball, lawn tennis, soccer, baseball, football, and other sports game where the audience remains around the courtside or the field. The game is an event which the sports fan came for and they wanted to know the events happening inside the courtside or field. If you notice or experience this yourself as a sports fan, if you are too far away from the court, it would be difficult sometimes to identify or describe the events happening inside the court field or the basketball court. So you also might have difficulty in identifying which player scored or received penalty or which one had received the injury. So since you're seated too far from the event, and you will also notice that if you get closer and closer to the court side or field, you can see the events better. So identify the players and even make personal comments on the referee's judgment. Remember, you can never get into the court or else you will interrupt the game and you will be escorted out of the sports hall or arena. So before we get deeper into understanding the limit of a function, let's play three pictures and one statement. The phrase here describes the important role of limit in calculus. You may pause the video for 3 minutes while writing your guesses. So as you can see here, there are three pictures. The first picture is a green disk with the word limit in the middle. And there is a spinal cord in the middle. And there's also this is a graph with a curve shaded green at the bottom and the word f of x or function of x on top. So what do you think am I trying to say here? If you're ready, you may unpause this video. So let me reveal the phrase. Limit is the backbone of calculus. So the green disk is the limit, the spinal cord represents the backbone, and the graph here represents calculus. Why is it important for calculus to learn limit first? Why is it the backbone? Without the limit, there will be there will be a very difficult understanding with differentiation and integration because if you wanted to study mathematics, you will learn that derivation and integration, they are both derived from limit. The foundation is limit. So limit is a backbone of calculus. The evaluation of a limit is the foundation on the formulation of the derivative and integral on the function. Limit is the foundation or backbone of calculus, which is why we need to understand the concept and know how to solve limit problems. Limit give rise to derivative and integration, where it has been a great tool for scientists, inventors, engineers, and mathematicians to solve objects which are irregular in nature. So that is already established through, that wherein the rules established in geometry, algebra, trigonometry, and math prior to calculus was never been able to solve. In general, limit gives you an estimation of a certain value. Derivative basically breaks the irregular shaped object, such as fluid, gas, and irregularly shaped objects out there to solve what regular geometry, algebra, and trigonometry can't solve. Integration also, from the name itself, refers to combining small pieces of the irregular shaped objects to find information such as perimeter, area, volume, and other things. This is the reason why calculus, more specifically derivative and integration, are very important to mathematicians, engineers, and scientists. So in studying limits, it is important to know how to read it properly. As you can see here, the expression on the right side, and which is separated by an equal sign and then followed by L. So let me teach you how to read this properly, since you will be seeing this equation over and over and over again. So we read this as the limit of f of x as x approaches c is equal to L. Or you can also read this the other way. The limit of a function of x as x approaches c is equal to L. A limit is a value that a function f of x approaching the constant value c to produce the output L for the given input value x. You can see from the bottom of the equation that we will see over and over while studying limits. This is basically like your general mathematics class when you discussed about function equation. Now, let's go ahead and identify the input, rules, and output. Since x is a variable, the input here is x approaches to c. By the way, the symbol c here is a constant number. The real input here is x. However, it is important to take note that the value of x is approaching to c. The rule to identify how to process x is the f of x, which will produce the output L. Sounds familiar, right? That is your general mathematics applied to basic calculus. We can use the number line to better understand what the limit of a function is all about visually. The c that you can see here is the constant number, which will serve as the anchor as basis for choosing the value of the variable input x, searching for or approaching the value of the constant c. Once the constant c has been established, you can start evaluating from the left. We call that as approaching from the left. It is usually referred to as approaching from the left. The value of the variable x has a notation of negative or minus to remind you that you are evaluating from the left. The values of x does not have to be negative, since our choice is dependent on the value of your constant c. And another way of evaluating the limit of a function is by looking at it approaching from the right side. We call that approaching from the right side of c. And of course, the positive sign is just a notation to remind you that you are approaching from the right. Please take note of that, as it will be very important when we will start using our table of values on the next video. I hope you have learned the concept and master it so that everything that we will do later on will make sense. You may write down on the chat box your key takeaways as a form of participation and self check. When you need to review some concepts that are not clear to you, you may watch the video again and skip to the part that is a little bit vague. Time for your learning verbalized and written down. So now you have learned the following: the definition of what is limit of a function. Thank you for joining us today. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, as this will greatly help increase our subscribers and help, and hopefully we can reach out to more learners who wanted to learn and understand basic calculus at their own pace. We will be able to do more contents on general mathematics, pre-calculus, basic calculus, probability and statistics, and basic math for senior high school, for every like and share, and most of all, when you subscribe is greatly appreciated. I will see you on the next video, ka-learner.